I'm Chris. I want to be leading the social media training today. Let me go ahead and share a screen. Here we go. Okay, can everybody see this okay? Thumbs up. Okay, great. Alrighty, so this is going to be social media advocacy training, and we are going to be spending the next 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how long you guys want to stick around with questions. I'm here to answer whatever y'all have. Ooh, we got another person. Admits, great. But we're going to split this up into 3 sections. So, after Monica's training last month, she gave me some feedback that y'all are interested in learning the difference between Facebook groups and Facebook pages. We're going to do a very brief intro into Twitter. I mean, that's something we could talk hours about, but we'll just kind of do a brief 101, and then we'll do 10, 15, 20 minutes for Q&A discussion. I know you guys have things you want to share that might not be covered in this little training. So away we go. How about that? All righty. So y'all recognize these 2 icons. We got the one on the left, that is Facebook groups, and the one on the right, Facebook pages. They're like cats and dogs. Not really, they get along. But when you're starting your brand new chapter page, or group, a lot of people don't know whether or not they want to do a Facebook group, if they want to do a Facebook page, or both or neither. So it could be pretty daunting. So let's talk about each one, what they provide, and like what's best for you. I think some of you already have these. So Facebook page. We all know what a Facebook page looks like, hopefully. It is customer facing, it's front facing, it's like the store window, it is public, it's just like your website. It's great to have when on your business card, if you're out there networking. We don't have an American Promise North Texas website, but we could say, yeah, find us on Facebook, American Promise North Texas. So that's great. A Facebook page has analytics and publishing tools, which can come in handy if you're wanting to grow your page, you're wanting to see how certain posts perform, you're wanting to schedule things, you're going to be busy with work or going on a vacation, or you want something to post on Labor Day, but you're going to be out on the lake fishing or taking it easy. Facebook pages have publishing tools, which are fantastic, and analytics, that'll show you how your posts are performing, how many people are seeing your posts, how many people are engaging with them. It could get really in the nitty gritty. And when I was running the American Promise North Texas Facebook page, I created a spreadsheet, and I would send Ann reports once a week with how the posts were performing. And it's good to know, they really respond to stuff that's local about Texas, or they're really liking the political cartoons, or they're really liking when we share things from the American Promise National. That's great for like that's what we want to know how we're doing. That's great with analytics. Another thing with the Facebook page, Facebook ads. So if you're wanting to spend a little bit of coin, out of your own pocket for, say you've got a great big event planned for Constitution Day, you guys are going to do a happy hour or something like that. This is just an example. In Minnesota, and you want some folks to come out, you invited your crew, your volunteers, but you're thinking, maybe we could get some people that don't know who we are yet. Facebook page is the way you run Facebook ads, and that's a whole different animal. We run Facebook ads for American Promise National. We just finished up a big campaign in August, and that was to get people to sign the pledge, people to like our page. Facebook ads, they work, but there are some things that aren't so great about the Facebook page. Number one is like the biggest thing is organic reach has been decreasing dramatically over the past 5 years. I mean, I remember back in my music industry days, way back in 2011, when Facebook was just becoming all the rage. You could post anything on Facebook, not put a penny behind it, and we just watched the likes and the comments roll in, and it was just fantastic. But sadly, with algorithms, and now that Facebook is such a gigantic business with ads, usually if you post something on your Facebook page and don't put much behind it, I mean, the reach is minimal. I mean, I could show you some examples with the American Promise North Texas page, where we have, geez, I can't remember off the top of my head how many likes, but for example, like 1,000 likes, 1,000 followers on our page. We'll post something organically and it reaches 10 people, 20 people. Organic reach goes up the more engagement there is, the more people are commenting, liking, those reactions, wows, loves, which is why we encourage y'all, in this class, what Monica was talking about last week, at least once a week, go through the American Promise Facebook page and give us likes, give us loves. That helps us out because we don't have the budget to be putting money behind every single one of our posts. I'm seeing a lot of raised hands and chats, which I will get to. Oh, okay. What's that?
Can I ask a quick question for you? What does organic mean?
Well, that's a great question, Marnie. And organics like broccoli, carrots, things you get at the Whole Foods and Central Market. That's not what we're talking about. I had delicious potatoes and broccoli or carrots for dinner today. But organic reach, that means, that's a great question. What's the best way for me to answer it? A very simplistic way for me to put it is that it is not being influenced. It's funny saying it like this, not influenced by money. We're not putting any money behind it. With Facebook, when you're wanting to have more people look at your posts, you could do a boost. You could run it as an ad and put however much money you want behind it. $20, $2,000. I mean, it's crazy, and it'll break down like the zip codes you want to target. Male, female, age groups, what they're into. If we're wanting to target people, I know that a lot of the campaigns we ran this past month, we were running some campaigns in Pennsylvania and in Maine, and targeting zip codes where there's representatives that are kind of on the fence. They might sign the pledge, which would be great. They're Republican lawmakers. So, down to the nitty gritty. Organic, there's none of that. It is just out there in the open. It's and I'm sure y'all have heard the term of going viral. When a post goes viral, usually that's on Twitter, but sometimes it could happen on Facebook too. In theory, we could not put a penny behind something, and a lot of people are sharing it. Tons of people are commenting on it. We talk, hey, happy Constitution Day. We're gonna be in Philadelphia. Watch our live stream. We don't put anything behind it. But if lots of people are sharing it, commenting on it, liking it, loving it, it starts to snowball. This is best case scenario, and it doesn't happen very often, but that's organic reach. So I know that was a long-winded answer, but hopefully that answered your question, Marnie. Thumbs up. I like that. All right. Last but not least, with Facebook page. And Facebook page is a great way. It's how you can create stories. So this is a brand new thing going on with Facebook. It was a big hit with Instagram. It's something that they stole from Snapchat. Stole. But yeah, Mark Zuckerberg, that guy. But anyways, I digress. But Facebook has stories now too. And I'm not sure how often y'all are on Facebook, but y'all will see it on the very top of your window. And it's fantastic. It's they're little 60-second videos, clips that just cycle through. You can create those on Facebook, and it is through your Facebook page. And here's an example of a Facebook page. This is just a screenshot of one. I might do a screen share here later on. But this is what a business Facebook page looks like. It's different from your personal page. This is a very simple snapshot of a Facebook page. Okay. Before I go on, Nancy Morgan raised her hand. Yes, Nancy.
Yeah, I just want to go back to the story thing because I don't understand. Could you give me an example of where how a story compares to a regular post?
Yes, absolutely. And when we get in the Q&A session, depending on how long I ramble on, I could show you guys some, do a little screen share and go to my page and show you guys some examples of stories. Stories are, they don't last forever. They're up for a day, 24 hours, that's it. And then they're gone. But they're little like 30-second, 60-second clips, and you just cycle through them. Folks are like with Instagram, me, myself, I'm sure Marnie can attest to this as well. A lot of times on Instagram, I'm just going through stories, and we're watching our friends, watching other businesses, brands, organizations. And it's almost like you could think of it as flipping through channels on a TV. Way back when, before we had a gazillion channels, and you're just like going through, channel 2, channel 4, channel 5, and you're like, what's on here? What's on here? What's on here? So that's what stories are. And they're brief. Like I said, after 24 hours, they're gone. They're poof, they're disappeared. The reason why people like to do stories, one, it's kind of appealing. That's not going to be up there forever if you can't go back to it. But it also gets great organic reach. Like, you cannot boost a story. You can't put, you could run an ad that runs through stories, but like me, myself, if I posted a story on my Instagram, I can't put any moolah behind it to increase the reach, but it's always up there on the very top. And I see, like, on my personal page, I get more views and eyeballs on my stories than I do my posts. So that's what stories are. It's new to Facebook. I think maybe it's been around for a year, maybe a year and a half. And later on, I could, see if I could screen share and show you guys an example, because stories are great. They are great. Does that answer your question, kind of, Nancy? Okay, I see you're nodding your head. Okay, great. Alrighty, Facebook group. So, difference between a page and a group. Hey, do I start a page? Do I start a group? What do I do? What's the difference? Okay, Facebook group. The number one thing, biggest difference, is that you have an ability to gatekeep here. This is going to be, you can set your group private. That only the people you invite can come to your group. You can have it be that if someone wants to join your group, they've got to fill out a questionnaire. Do you live in Virginia? If so, like, name the state capital of Virginia. Why do you want to join our group? Almost like an application to join the group. And you as moderator, you are allowing people in as you want. In theory, you don't have to have anybody. You don't have any gates. You can say, hey, you want to join my group? Easy peasy, come and join. But there's those options. Whereas a page, anybody could like it. Anybody could go to it. You don't want to put your page private. It's like your website. This group, you have the ability to gatekeep. The other thing is, like, it is an online forum. A group is a discussion between members, between people that are in the group. You're the owner of the group, you're the admin, and then you could set other folks to be the moderators. You've got some volunteers that they're kicking butts, and you're wanting them to take the next step. They're into social media. Hey, do you want to be a moderator on our Facebook group and kind of, moderate what people are posting, making sure everybody's like, not breaking any rules. They're staying on brand. We're talking about getting money out of politics. It's an online forum. There's more interaction. With the group, though, it does demand more time and effort to build. It's ongoing. It's a living thing. You've got members posting on it, and it just takes a while to grow. Usually your Facebook page is going to have more likes than your Facebook group is going to have members. Just because it is so easy to like a page. A group, a lot of times, it's got that gatekeeping to it. So it takes some time. It takes some time to be building your group, but the organic reach and engagement for a group is high. It's fantastic. Anybody that's posting in a Facebook group, you're getting a notification on Facebook. So and so posted in the American Promise North Texas group, or shared a link, shared a video, whatever. You're getting notified for that. Whereas unless when you're posting through your page, you're not getting notified when somebody's posting on your page or posting through your page. Your group, all your group members, they're going to get notified when you're posting about it. So that's why the reach is high, and that's why engagement can be sky high. Vicky Barnes raised her hand. Yes.
So the organic reach and the engagement is high, but doesn't that just stay within the members of the group itself, and people can't share to outside of the group?
Yeah, if it's a public group, you can share, but yes, it is within the group. Yes, like with that reach and engagement. But the thing is, your group members are fully engaged with your group, the people that are in the group, whereas the people that like your page are not fully engaged with your page. So like that's why it's like it's like a storefront window, your Facebook page. People are walking by, that looks nice, and they just walk on by. Whereas like the group or the people that are in the store, talking about the deals, browsing. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not, but that's hopefully that helps it out. But so yes, so it's not going to be sky high. Facebook group post was never going to go, or it's never going to go viral. You're never going to have like 1 million people look at a Facebook group post. But those folks in that community, like they're going to be engaged. So there's no analytics for a Facebook group, which is another downside. So you can't see exactly how much the reach is, but it's very personalized. Like you could see your members, and in theory, private message them. When they're posting a post or they're commenting on something that you posted, you can reach out to them and say, whatever you want. Hey, like that was a great point. Like I'd love for you to share this in our next chapter meeting, or hey, like you cussing up a storm is not so great. We try to keep things PG-13 here, whatever it may be. But as for analytics, you're gonna get more analytics from your page than you are from your group. Holy cow, 2 participants raised their hands. Oh, I see Vicky. Vicky and then
Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. No.
So you have the capability to message the members of your group. So you could send a message. Could you send a message out to all of the members of the group saying, hey, did you sign the pledge yet? That kind of thing.
Private message, that'd be very tough and very unlikely to send a group private message. You could post in your group,
Okay.
and they are going to get notified. Vicky Barnes posted American Promise, Minnesota. Like, oh, what did Vicky have to say?
Okay, so then they have to go to the page to see, or to the group
Right.
to see what you posted. You can't.
Yeah.
If you post, hey, sign the pledge, they're not going to get it. Hey, Vicky Barnes wants you to sign the pledge.
No, well, they'll have that you posted. But say you wanted to send a private message, like say somebody that you may not know that's a member of your group, and they've been like sharing articles and like they liking your stuff. Like you could see who that is and private message them and say, hey, what's up? My name's Vicky. I'm the chapter leader of Minnesota. Want to introduce myself. Have you signed the citizen pledge yet? I'd like to invite you to next chapter meeting. We've got some great stuff planned for Constitution Day. Like I'd love for you to share the Facebook feed that national team is doing. Like that's what I recommend for that.
And then on the page of your Facebook page, you don't have the ability to really. You could maybe, if they're on Messenger, try and get in touch with a follower, but you can't really, you can't private message them, or there's no communication.
You could also, but it's weirder because like they just like the page, like they're not a part of the group. Like with the group, they know you're in the group, like we're all in the group. Like,
yeah. So
like a storefront, like if you walk past the window and maybe like, like that'd be kind of weird for you to reach out. But like if you're in the store and you're talking to the clerks or whatever, like that would be, oh, hey, we've got a 50% off sale going on, tomorrow or whatever. Okay, I see 2 more participants raising their hands. How do I see this? Ooh, Nancy Morgan. Oh, how about Monica? I haven't talked to her yet. What's up, Monica?
I just wanted to throw this in, and Chris, please, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But for AP, it seems like our groups are people who are very engaged and very dedicated to this, to this cause. And it seems like in terms of interacting between the two, that the way it would work best for AP is to let people in your group know. Well, first of all, get them to like your page and all that stuff, get them familiar with your page. And then in your group, let them know that we've just posted this to the page. We'd like everyone to go over to the page, like it, interact with it, share it, get it out there. And that to me that's the impression I've come to, but in reading up on these and thinking about AP and how AP groups work, that seems to be one way that it'd be good to get the pages then raised in, getting out there, using the group. So just my impression of, how the AP groups are working and how we could use this interaction between the two to get more visiting on the pages.
That is an excellent point, Monica, and that's a great way to use to tie them together, groups and pages. I see a lot of
question. Oh, Chris, so I have a question on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there any sort of inside of Facebook way to link the two so that you're not just telling them go over there, you're actually sending them something that sends them? Okay.
Yeah, in theory,
we can get to that later.
You could link to the post. Yeah, absolutely. I see some more questions, but we will get to those towards the end, so I don't get so.
Can I just sorry? Can I just have had my hand up in this?
Oh, sorry, I didn't see. Yeah.
So just going back to Monica's question, because I've asked this before, and I know we have our page and we have our group. So the best, what Monica is saying, put something on our group, and then say, hey, wait, I get. It's like we want people to go to our page. Is that what you're saying, Monica? Because I'm never quite sure whether I should paste it in, put it in the page or in the group. And
so I guess it depends on what it is exactly. But if we're trying to put something out there for the public, like when we were trying to get people to sign the pledge, you want the public to see that. So you want it on the page. And the way you get more attention on your page is when more people interact. So I would say that's an example where you want to put something out to the group, probably with the link to the page thing, as Chris said, and said, hey, everybody in the group, please go to this link. And if you haven't done it, fill out the pledge, but then also interact with it. Let's talk in the comments a little bit, and let's share it with any other groups we have, or share it with our friends if our friends are kind of like-minded on this issue. That's how I would see it. Chris, please, your advice on it too.
You are 100% correct. 100% correct, Monica. Yeah. And it is a little confusing, but Facebook is confusing. They change every year. They change all the time. It's a nightmare. But to add the
Chris, just going to something that Hank said that I had a problem with too, because all of a sudden Facebook changed. Before, I could just register people to the group. So I invite people to the group, right?
Yep. Yes, you can.
But now what they force me to do is the only people I can invite to the group are people who are on my personal page.
Oh, yeah,
and I don't want, I just want, if somebody's interested in our group, I want to invite them to the group. I don't want to have them on my personal, be a friend on my personal page. I don't understand.
What I would do there is send them the link to the group. Like every group will have a link. And like in theory, you shouldn't yes, you can send like a personal invite. Hey, Nancy invited Chris to like the Get Money Out, Facebook group for Virginia. But if you and I are not Facebook friends, and you still want me in the group, you could, in theory, message me a link to the group, and then I could go to that group page, and then so it's like just a different, instead of like a personal invite that's going into my notifications, it's like going into my private message inbox.
Yeah, it's complicated though. I guess I don't.
Well,
yeah.
One thing I've done is that I belong to some groups that are very like-minded in this way, and you can do it one of two ways. One thing I've done is I've put the link into a comment, and I said, hey, if you guys want to do something about this, here's a group that is working on it. And I do believe it was the group link. so that they could go to it and then join the group if they want.
I see, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get back to that. Okay, let's go next. Here's a screenshot of American Promise North Texas group page. So that's just a little screenshot. We'll do, if I have time, I'll do a screen share to this. All right, which one is right for my chapter? So these are top 3 things between pages and groups, just kind of a recap of what we're talking about. But my personal opinion, what I would suggest, both of them, make a page and a group. They serve different purposes. They're both relatively easy to make, difficult to grow, but I would have a page and a group. I would have both of them. And yeah, it does get a little complicated, but it's important. It's important to have that community discussion like you get in a group, that really people that are really into the mission, into the organization. And then it's important to have a page that's public facing for folks that when you're out and about, an easy, quick way for them to, go to our page and learn more about the chapter. And on the pages, you could have links to the group. So they could look at the page and then click here to join the group. So that is my recommendation.
Sorry to interrupt you, Chris. I've hopefully a quick one on this. Do you think that it would be beneficial for AP, instead of each of the chapters having a page, for AP to have a page? Do you think it would be easier for us and it would get more visibility in that way? And then, any group that, or any chapter that wants to post something would actually post it on that one page, and send their group members over to that page. I've been wondering about this, like instead of having all these separate pages.
Right. It's a great question. It's really up to what your needs are in your chapter, how active your chapter is. For me, with where I volunteer, and I volunteer for Headcount, and I'm a team leader, chapter leader here in Dallas-Fort Worth. We have a group. Like I didn't create a page. I just created a group, but I have a separate Instagram page. And the reason why I have a group is because there's nothing really that I would be posting that needs to be in the page. Whereas in the group, we've got all the volunteers there, and I'll say, hey, we're going to be at this concert, this event, in October. Here's how you can sign up. Whereas for a page, like I don't really need to be posting about things like that. For American Promise North Texas, we had both of them. And one of the big things is for our pages, we're posting a lot about things that are going on in Texas that ties into the mission, that really localizes it, that why should I care about money in politics? Like when it's all stuff about the elections going on in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Maine and blah, blah, blah. I live in Texas. With our page, like that's a great front facing when they're learning about American Promise, and they could scroll and say, oh, holy cow, like they spent X amount of money, on the governor's race, or the district attorney race or whatever. And then we have the groups again to like talk with our active members about, we've got a picnic coming up or Constitution Day or whatever. So it's really what is right for your chapter. Like it's y'all understand that. Like y'all know your chapters. Y'all can decide whether a page or group. I like both. That's how American Promise North Texas is. But again, it's totally up to y'all. I would recommend a group first and foremost, like definitely a group.
Hey Chris, it's
Henry.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Do I remember right that one of the advantages of the group and the people that are in it is when a posting is made in a group, aren't the group members sent an email notice that a post has been made?
Not necessarily an email, but they'll be notified on their Facebook page. And once I wrap this up, I'll do a screen share and I'll show you guys some examples. But not necessarily an email, but definitely a notification on Facebook. There, you can't have it set up when you set up your group page as the moderator, the admin, that you could get email notifications yourself when somebody's posting in your group. That's chaotic. I wouldn't recommend it, but if you want, sure. But as for like everybody in the group, no, we don't get an email. I will, since y'all have got some great questions and we've got 30 minutes, like, let me go to Twitter 101 if y'all want to do that. And then I could show y'all, spend 5-10 minutes doing some screen shares. Does everybody sound cool with that? Okay. Twitter 101, this is going to be a very brief, like I think we could do a whole thing on Twitter, but I know pages and groups is what y'all are talking about. So I understand you also were interested in Twitter. So let's go to that. Ooh, look at that beautiful shot. So Twitter, I think everybody's familiar with it, but it's a lot of fun. Twitter is one of my favorite pieces of social media because it is the wild, wild west. There is advertising on Twitter, but not so much. You know, that's, like I said, organic and viral. Like you'll see that on Twitter all the time. And I mean, it's a lot of fun, and I think it's great for, if you're interested in social media. I mean, you should always have social media accounts. I think Twitter is a fantastic one to have. Here's a little screenshot of Twitter homepage for American Promise. So if you guys haven't followed us yet, at USA Promise, that is our account. And I'll also do a screen share for Twitter to kind of go over this a little bit more. But here are some of Twitter tactics, you know, kind of best practices that we would recommend. Excuse me. We're posting thoughts on recent events and the amendments, promoting events that are to come with banner style images and graphics. And we've got a lot of those in the American Promise resource library that you could use. Retweeting posts from the national page, and then like whatever partner organizations you guys work with. And I know this is very, very 101, but a retweet for those that are unaware is sharing. You know, somebody, I saw that Marnie was talking about the new Harry Styles record. She had a really funny joke, and I'm retweeting it to send it to my followers here in Texas that, you know, they need to know Marnie's hilarious joke from all the way in Boston. Use hashtags and mentions to increase, that should be increase visibility. So a hashtag is using the pound symbol. They're number 3 on your keyboard. And that's just a way for like indexing topics, things that are trending, that people are just chatting. You know, this is just the one gigantic chat Twitter is. And mentions is you're tagging another Twitter user, and they're going to be notified. Like if I was talking about Marnie's post on Harry Styles and I tagged her in it, she would get notified. Hey, Chris McDonald retweeted your post, or Chris McDonald mentioned you. And I was like, wow, Marnie is so funny. Or that's a really bad example, but hopefully you guys get the gist. Post thoughts and topics multiple times throughout the day. That's, you know, it's really up to y'all how often you want to post a day. You know, how many followers you have. Here on American Promise, we post, geez, from what I've gathered, you know, like 4 or 5 times a week, not nearly multiple times a day, and that's fine. Some folks, I mean, 10 times a day. I mean, they post all the time, and it's just like trying to always be on top of mind, on top of that feed. It's really up to y'all. It really is. Pin hot topics and recent events. So that's just, you guys know what's going on. You know, in the world. Big thing we've got going on coming up is Constitution Day. Twitter, you know, making sure, I'll show you guys some examples for tracking on Twitter. When it's Constitution Day in a couple of weeks, seeing what people are posting about it, seeing what your representatives are posting about it, and then, you know, replying to them, tagging them, retweeting them. That's a great way to stay active on Twitter and hopefully, you know, gain some followers. Nancy, I see that you raised your hand. What's up?
Yeah, I have a similar question. I have my own Twitter, not that I wanted Twitter,
Right.
and then I got the Money Out VA Twitter because I went to a Twitter training. They said it's better if you have a personal Twitter account, that you tweet something and then I retweet it with money out. But I don't understand why. I mean,
Yeah, to me, the biggest thing is that Twitter is personal. You know, it's a lot of people. And that's like tweets from brands and organizations and faceless, like those work and those are fine. But like what people like about Twitter is the personal voice. And so, you know, a lot of brands and organizations are on Twitter, and that's great, and they do really well. But it'll always have a little bit more weight when it's coming from a person, somebody that you know, you replying to me will have more weight, you know, from a personal standpoint, you know, that touch than, you know, like an organization. So that's some weird advice, having personal and organization just to like retweet yourself, but that's not something like necessarily I would say have a personal, so you have like you're separate, so you could, you know, share your personal thoughts that maybe you don't want to be associated with the organization. But yeah, like odd advice. The other thing I could think of is like, again, Twitter is very personal. You know, it's all people chatting away. And then sometimes when you see like Burger King or you know, a big organization, it just kind of, you know, it's odd. It carries weight. They got a lot of followers, but it's just different. Okay. End of my presentation. How about that? Let me go ahead and stop sharing for now.
Chris, I just wanted to throw in on Twitter, sorry I was muted there when I'm speaking, that this is an area where for the chapters, my impression of it anyways, we would not want to have like separate chapter Twitter accounts. What we would want to do is through our own account, amplify American Promises page. Like we would want to share American Promise stuff and comment on American Promise stuff. A little bit different than Facebook, where you have your own chapter group where you're organizing and doing things. On Twitter, you know, for the chapters, personally, I don't think you would want to have a separate account for the chapter. You want your members to go to American Promises Twitter page and retweet and comment and you know,
I guess it depends on the chapter though, because we're working on campaign finance reform in Virginia, and we want all of the Virginia organizations to know us, big money out.
Yes, 100%. Totally agree. Nancy, North Texas chapter, we have our own Twitter account. That's because we're talking to Texas politicians, you know, and sometimes talking to folks like that, like me, you know, yes, it means a lot coming from me, you know, I'm a constituent, but sometimes like coming from an organization, like sometimes like, oh, who is American Promise North Texas, or what's American Promise? And American Promise National Twitter account's not going to have the capacity or ability to talking to people in Virginia or Texas.
What's your handle, Nancy?
At Money Out VA.
But yeah, if you could put that in the chat, if everybody could put their Twitter handles in the chat, that'd be great. We could all follow each other. Vicky, I see your hand is up.
I have a separate one too, because if I tag a Republican congressperson, I don't want them to look at my personal Twitter feed. Not that I do anything bizarre on it, but I just would like to try and keep things clean, in that they don't know if I'm a Republican or a Democrat. I don't, and it's really, I get like really aggravated, and then I start to tweet and I'm like, oh shoot, I can't do that, I'm on American Promise. so yeah, I think it works well for me, but other people, I see your point, Monica. And New Jersey is a little different state than Minnesota, where with the we're pretty much purple. And
no, but these are all really really valid points that I hadn't really thought about. And the part about working with a member of Congress, or tweeting something like that and not wanting to show your hand of where you stand on it is very true. I mean, you go to my Twitter feed, which unfortunately has been kind of quiet lately, but you can definitely tell. So that might be beneficial for me to create another one and be more neutral. in it.
I'm going to share my screen here again for like the next.
By
5
the
to
way,
7
one option that you've got, which I've done, is my Twitter feed is my person, but it's my professional person. It's not my personal.
Yeah.
As you'll see, it's got
Oh, yeah.
my name in it, but it's the 28's in there because it's about the 28th Amendment and my political views
Right.
that are conformance with the nonpartisan nature of the group. So that's how I handle that.
Again, I'm going to share my screen for like the next 5-7 minutes, and I'm going to show y'all some more things on Twitter, and then I'm going to show y'all some things on Facebook, and then we'll use the last 10 minutes for like more questions, discussion, things like that. So I want to show you guys a tool that I use that I would highly recommend for Twitter, and that is there's a lot of tools like this, but this one is called Tweetdeck.
All right.
Right here, Tweetdeck. It's a
Yeah.
free tool. And I don't know if y'all have seen things like this, but this is a wonderful way to, this is my personal one. So you're looking at, mine. So don't try to judge or anything, but this is a great way to stay organized. I have these columns, I've got my home feed where everyone I follow, I got notifications where people are tagging me, commenting or liking whatever I say. I know we're nonpartisan, but like these are, Democrats in Texas that I follow. When I was working at a House of Blues and Live Nation, I had something here to see tags for House of Blues. Like if I was still at American Promise North Texas, I'd have mentions for AP North Texas here. And this right here is a list that I created for all the clubs and theaters for Live Nation so that I could see what they're talking about. I could interact with them. Like this is a great tool. And add a column here to, I could do what's trending, I could see my followers. We could do a search. So like, let's do this and let's do,
Oh, look at this.
what should we talk about? Let's do Dallas Cowboys, huh? Like, okay.
This is great.
Yeah, I agree. It's a terrific tool, and I've got a hard time getting the time to really understand how to use it.
Yeah, and this is just a crash course, but let me show you all something else with Twitter from the homepage. So let's go to American Promise North Texas. So this is what we're all used to. What the Twitter homepage, and this is fine. This is great. I usually do TweetDeck. Another great thing with TweetDeck is you can, oh look, it switched me out to American Promise North Texas, which is fine. Sorry about that.
I'm sorry, Chris, how did you toggle over to TweetDeck so quickly?
All my tabs right here. Can y'all see that? It's a new
Oh, it
tab.
was just, I see, it was just up. Okay.
But a great thing that I do is right here, lists, creating a list. And so here are the lists that I've created. We have like allies, Texans in U.S. Congress, Texas State House reps, and Texas State Senate reps. So what I will do is I have this list, and you could put that list here in TweetDeck. Go back and see what everyone is talking about.
Question. I see. List is the option on the left. Okay.
Yeah. And edit lists right here. So if we wanted to add somebody, what the heck is somebody? We could remove somebody, but I definitely would suggest getting Twitter lists.
So
That-
do they, Chris, do those show up on your Twitter feed too? Or do you have to go to lists to?
We'll have to go to lists on Twitter, but here with TweetDeck, we can create a column
It's all your lists.
right here.
Are your lists private or are they all public?
You could choose. I can't remember what mine are, but I think like
I think the easy analogy is think of a list as a folder.
that's fantastic.
Oh, okay. Okay.
This is great if like you're wanting to just kind of keep tabs on, your what is everybody talking about on Constitution Day? When that comes up. Hey, I could come up to see all these Texans in U.S. Congress. Sylvia Garcia is talking about this mentoring program. You know, Al Green's talking about the rescue plan. Say you want to like chat, talk to them. You know, I could. Where's this guy? Oh,
Ronnie Jones.
yeah, talk. But you know,
Physical.
that'd be away from your American Promise. If you wanted to say, what is your thoughts on getting big money out of politics? You know, it's very generic, but or you could comment on they say something. You know, last year in the 2020 elections, Texas had, you know, $100 million come from California. You know, these are examples, of course, but lists are a great resource. It takes a little bit of time to create. You know, you got to do some research, and then Tweetdeck. You know, I am here to help you guys. Like, I'm planning on doing a video training on things like this, but if you guys need one-on-one help, questions answered, the great thing about Tweetdeck is that it's free.
Yeah.
REE, can't beat that. There's a lot of tools like this, but I've been using Tweetdeck honestly for like 10 years, and you could even schedule a tweet right here. So like, say, you know, I want to be out of town on Labor Day, but I want to like tweet, you know, Happy Labor Day. Oh, you know, forgive my typing. And then you click on schedule tweet, and you can see, you know, pick the day you want to tweet it and the time. So that's something for Twitter that I wanted to show you guys. And I know I said I just wanted to take 7 minutes. So let me very quickly show you guys some things on groups and pages, and then we'll use the last 10 minutes for kind of a Q&A. Here, let me move this. So this is my personal page. So again, you know, no judging, but look at all these notifications. Okay. You know, happy birthdays, blah, blah, blah. Let me see. Here's a group that I'm in. It's a wrestling group. Okay. No judging, but here's a wrestling group when I was covering wrestling in Florida. I get a notification. Barry Rose added 5 photos. You know, that's a notification that I got. I'm in a karaoke and trivia group for Dallas. You know, when people talk about karaoke nights and the next trivias or whatever, like we've got 11 people posting, so I get notified for that. So I could click on that. You know, Louisville Democrats. That's a perk. You know, you're not getting an email, and the only reason why you get so many is because I'm just on so many groups. But you know, Bay Area Democrats, this Democratic Club, and I was doing a lot of this, doing work for American Promise North Texas. But like that's a perk for groups, like getting those notifications. Let me show you the headcount team leaders group. So like, here's a big group that I'm in. You know, 353 members. Like the headcount page has, you know, 100,000 likes. But like here, when they're talking about, you know, events that are coming on, like I'm getting notified every time. I'm seeing, you know, hey, anybody in Philadelphia this Friday? You want to meet up for dinner and drinks? You know, yeah, sure, blah, 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 let's meet up. You know, it's a community, you know, talking about Bonnaroo. So I could show you the North Texas group, but it hasn't had a lot of activity since I joined the national. But hopefully that explains a little bit more about groups.
You also have your stories. You also have your stories there too.
Yes, thank you.
And I just want to throw one thing about stories in, is that stories for AP seem really effective when you're going to be doing an event, or you're doing an event. Like you could, the day before this event, you could create a little story saying, hey, tomorrow I'm going to be on this call, you know, about this. And then it goes away, and then come back and today say, today I'm on this call. Oh, there's a story. And they pop up in your notifications. They're very easy to look at. They're kind of, you know, you're not tied into reading something long. Okay. I'll be quiet. Mama couldn't save us because she had to get the, Mama couldn't save us because she had to get the.
So a story is limited in terms of what you can put up there in terms of text or whatever?
You could put anything, as you could see, as I was trying to show. You could put songs, you know, music. I'm very sorry about that. But
So the media that you can do in a story is actually broader than a post.
no, I wouldn't say. Maybe yeah, maybe a little bit. Like you could add funny gifs and things like that on your post. Anybody could, and autoplay is the devil. I hate it.
Chris, I think you bumped your microphone. We're having a hard time hearing you.
Oh, really? Let me go ahead and stop sharing. Ready? Can you all hear me now?
It's low.
No.
Did you hit your volume accidentally?
No.
Technically, there's no volume on your microphone.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to talk louder.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. I'll try to show
That's
you guys
okay.
examples of stories. And autoplay jacked me up.
There you go.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
Back. Thumbs up, everybody. Can y'all hear me? Okay. Sorry about the stories. I should have maybe previewed that before I did that. But you kind of got an idea where stories live, like right there at the top of your Facebook page. You saw, my friend posted a picture of her husband lounging. That guy was posting his hip hop songs for the events he's got going on in big block of text. People post photos, polls, all sorts of things. And again, it's like I might not see their posts on Facebook, but I'm seeing their stories. It's right there at the top. So,
So
Chris,
like, just a quick, so something like I could take the pictures that we compiled from the county fairs we worked and make that a story?
yes, absolutely. Like I would encourage obviously posting that on your page, but yeah, stories too. And stories are great for live, like things that are going on in the moment. Excuse me. So yes, and just right here on your phone. So yeah, stories are great.
one thing about Messenger, I want to see if it's still the case. I discovered that, yes, you can send a message to anybody who likes your page, follows, whatever. However, I gather unless the person is a friend of yours and you're working, or a friend of the page, whatever, the message that you send is very passive. If they are a friend or whatever, they get told they've got a message. But if they are not, the message appears in their list of messages if they choose to notice that they've got a message to read. So that tripped me up for a long time. I thought I was getting through to all kinds of people, and I don't think I was. So that's one thing to keep an eye on. Again, the key thing in many ways is finding some way to make somebody a friend, because then you've got all kinds of ability to do whatever with them.
Yeah, on that same subject, Mary Beth, one of our Wright County workers here in Minnesota, she had tried thinking and didn't really care for it. So she messaged her friends on Facebook she came up with copied and pasted this letter to each of them individually asking them to sign the pledge. So that's a lot of work, I think. But if you're copying and pasting, then that's fine. So we'll see what kind of news we get back from her, but that was pretty cool.
That's the question that I wanted to ask Chris, was if we want to use our personal Facebook account to promote AP, what is the strategy to do that? And where do we get the content to do that?
Straight from the American Promise page, straight from their Facebook page, their Instagram, their Twitter. Like that's what I would recommend, 100%. And using that and clicking share or retweet, like that is the easiest, best way to share content from American Promise National. And
Right, so you could do a couple things. You could copy the link or copy the post that American Promise puts out as a post on your page. Or you could just go to American Promise and share it like to your friends or to your group, which I always suggest that one, because then that gets American Promise the share in all the, in all the analytics.
yep,
Okay.
Monica's exactly 100% correct. Like I would always share, because again, when we're talking about organic reach, what helps that is all those interactions, shares, likes, comments. So y'all sharing our page, like it helps us, it goes to your page, but then it also helps boost our algorithm score or whatever Zuckerberg is doing. He changes it literally all the time. It's terrible. Yeah.
Can I just throw in, Chris, but the benefit of the other way where you take the URL to their post, or you take their post and you put it on your page, is that then possibly you can get your friends to go over to the American Promise page. You're directing them to the American Promise page.
That's what I thought would be more personal to do than just to click, and share it. And then I want to put some kind of text with it, not just here's an ad from American Promise.
You absolutely can, Jody. You absolutely can. When you share, you can include your own caption, your own comment. You totally can do that. I recommend that too.
Yeah, I agree that way you bring it along, and they can click on that, and it takes them back to your source, which in this case is AP.
And
that's what I would want to drive them to that for two things. Number one, to sign the pledge, and number two, to get them to join one of our groups, one of our teams.
I saw you messaged me a question about the Facebook ads. Do you mind if I answer that for everybody?
Yes. Tell me about the Facebook ads. What is the ballpark figure on that?
It really is up to you. It really is.
What do you get?
The less you spend, the less effective it's going to be. But in theory, you could spend $5 a day, on a post if you wanted to. It's not going to be very effective, but you could go from $5 a day to, $1,000 a day. I mean, working at the Performing Arts Center and Live Nation. I mean, it's the number one way we advertise. Running those Facebook ads. So, like, if you want to run 100, and you can have it broken up. I want to run this campaign all week long, and I want to spend $100 total. Or I want to run this campaign all week long, and I want to spend only $10 a day. And as soon as that $10 is up, and you get to, goes down to nitty gritty. You can choose how is that money spent. Like, is it spent every time somebody clicks on it? Is it spent every time somebody sees it? Like, how is Facebook determining how to spend that money? And so Facebook advertising, again, I recommend it to every single business that I talk to. It's powerful. Where I come from, it's the number one, and it's still very affordable. It's more affordable than radio and TV, and there's 1 billion people on Facebook. It's insane how many people, maybe not 1 billion, but let's say 100 million users are on Facebook. So are you frozen?
Would it be possible to have a workshop where we would actually do that?
Oh,
that's a good idea.
I would really like to do that, because I got permission from Facebook finally after working with Vicky. She showed me how to fill in some forms and sent something out to Facebook, and they sent me back a letter with a code. But I'm sort of stuck, because I guess the next step is to set up a profile before you can actually boost post, right? But I don't know how to do this, so I'm sort of scrambling.
Yeah, that's man, I got more pains and bruises and all the rest trying to get on, because the thing that complicates it for all of us is we are a politics facing organization. And as a result, there's a whole lot of stuff that our friends at Facebook insist, in part because of what the government has forced them to do, to get information on us and authorize it. And it is a winding road that does not go in a straight line.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do a workshop, and then we can all figure out what kind of ad we want to do. And then, or you could, American Promise can come up with with something that we would want to boost. And then we can all, put it on our Facebook page and then boost it. And I know it costs, so it depends on how wide you want the reach to be and how many days you want to run it, and that kind of thing. So it doesn't, Jody, you could do an ad for just $10, and
that.
what is the result?
Following-
What are we getting for our $10 or our $100,000? What are we getting?
Like, yeah, that's up to you. Also, you can choose what your goals are.
So
And
like
I'll-
I would choose a friends of friends, you know, it's more
Yeah.
money every layer you go out farther.
The farther out you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and you basically tell Facebook what type of constituency geographically and topically you want them to push to, and they'll push it out at X quantity depending upon how much money you gave them over what window.